Good afternoon and welcome back to the Alexandra Bowling Club in central Otago for the final of the Summerset National Mixed Pairs, the last event of these Summerset Nationals to bring an end to our time in central Otago. We are now playing the second end of 16, and it is Bronwyn and Roger Stevens who have grabbed a 2 on the first end to lead Sarah Tokomo and Laurie Guy 2-0 after one end played of 16 in our national mixed pairs final. Sorry, we had a few technical difficulties, so we missed the opening end, but it was a 2 to Bronwyn and Roger Stevens out of Northeast Valley in Dunedin these days, previously out of the Tarangi Club in Southland. Brenton Vinasroy here with the call, alongside, as always, Kevin Hickland, and very much looking forward to this one because Sarah Tokomo and Laurie Guy gave a very good account of themselves, and Bronwyn Stevens and Roger Stevens beat Craig Merrilees and Claire Hendra 16-15 in their semi-final that we saw earlier, obviously having seen Merrilees and Hendra play in the quarters earlier this morning.
Yeah, well, of course, Brendan, both of these sides have sort of picked up some big scalps on the way through, because we saw Bronwyn Stevens and Roger yesterday in the last 16 defeat Mark Noble, and then go on this morning and defeat Ben and Helen King, and then in that very close semi-final defeated Craig Merrilees and Claire Hendra. And then, of course, with the Laurie Guy combination with Sarah Tokomu, they beat Gary Lawson, of course, yesterday in the last 16, and then went on to beat Nick Butter and Tracy Clark. And then this afternoon they had a real ding-dong battle with Anne Muir and Paul Price, and we actually saw Sarah Tomoko played absolutely a couple of screamers on the last end, which gave them the win. So, yep, should be a great final as we watch this bowl of Sarah Tomoko just run into the jack. And of course, you know, the Stevens combination now, as you say, out of Northeast Valley. Bronwyn, part of the Blackjack Development Program, and Roger, of course, runner-up of the New Zealand Fours 2 years ago, playing with Mike Kernahan at Nainai. And also, of course, besides being in the Blackjack Development side and both in the Dunedin side, they're also involved with a team in the UBC Bowls, which they own a franchise within that. So great supporters of the game, and playing all the major events, and this would be a great event for them. Bronwyn Stevens now on the hunt for the jack on the drive. Looks as though they're going to run into the front bowl, gets rid of their own. Sarah Tomoko bowl sitting there, and interesting, just come to us throughout the break, Brenton, that Sarah, in fact, this year at the Victoria Club won all club titles this year, a clean sweep of all of the titles at Victoria Club. And in fact, also Laurie Guy has won the most singles titles of anybody in the history, the proud history, the 100+ years of the Victoria Bowling Club, has won the most singles of anybody. So certainly two very proficient players, and we'll see Stevens again attack the jack, no doubt. This is Bronwyn Stevens, 2 down after a very, very good drawn bowl by Laurie Guy sitting alongside the jack. So he's Bronwyn Stevens now on the backhand. On a play with weight, got away with a bit of a bounce, in fact, but it's close to the target. Might get one, got them both. Now
the jack's come back and it's still alive.
Still alive, they're still 2 down if that's the case.
Yeah, it's certainly still alive in the pegs, isn't it? Because if that bowl's still there, then there's nothing wrong with the jack. I think Sarah Tokomo there was just checking to see if that bowl of hers was indeed within the pegs. Bowl of Laurie Guy's, isn't it? Of course, he's got the red bowls. Tokomo with the black bowls, looking to just keep these within the pegs, hold it up weight-wise, see if it's enough for a third.
Comes alive, it certainly will count, and if it's inside the jack line, that must count.
Pretty handy bowl. So certainly take one away, and then I think you're going to have to maybe get the measure out because
the string out. I would
it's
say
quite far away. Some of these other you can take two away.
Get the clothesline out.
Is it 3? I think they might have agreed on 3 there. Wait for confirmation. Or is it 2 confirmed and then they're going to call for the umpire, are they? Because they're quite far away.
Yes, the umpire I can see is getting ready at the...
So, at least 2 for the Victoria combination. Sarah Tokomo and Laurie Guy. As Kevin mentioned, very proficient players out of the Wellington club, which is continuing its great run of national titles. Of course, Nicole Toomey won the national singles earlier. We had Lee Griffin, a member of the Victoria club, win the women's fours just a few days ago here in Central Otago, part of the Mandy Boyd 4. And now Sarah Tokomo and Laurie Guy trying to just add to Victoria's very proud history in the past decade, where they've won a national title. I think it's the last 8 years running now.
So as Brendan said, this is at the last event of the Summerset National Championships. Of course, we started way back in January the 2nd, I think it was. We started with the pairs and singles in Auckland. And that bowl looks to be
closer.
So
that one's taken away, so that's 3.
Are they going to come around to this other one now, or...?
That's 4, isn't it? That's 4 actually, because you've got the 3. Yeah, I think she's signalled 4 there, drawn the 4 in the air, Sarah Tokomo. So great fight back after dropping a 2 on the opening end. A 4 on the second, 4-2. They now lead. Bronwyn and Roger Stevens do the Victoria pair of Sarah Tokomo and Laurie Guy.
And but unlucky with the drive. You got the target and it bounced back up the green out to the side.
That is very unlucky.
That was got the target clean. So we had the
capitalised on though by Laurie Guy.
Absolutely.
And he drew in very well to get the 3rd.
So
there's the Jack, as we've seen a lot of today, haven't we?
We certainly have.
And Jack's given up. This time with Sarah Tokomo. We'll see what Roger Stevens can do. See where he puts the mat as well. Brings it back about a metre.
Certainly been a pleasure to be down here in Central Otago for the men's and ladies fours. The men's fours, of course, won by Morris Symes a few days back. And sensational last end against Mike Kernahan, who now has been runner-up in the Summerset National Fours in the last 3 years. And in the women's fours, we saw the Mandy Boyd skip side run out the winner. They played pretty consistent right throughout the whole game, and they beat the defending champions, the Sandra Keith skip side.
Yeah, 6th national title, national fours title in 11 years for Mandy Boyd. A 5th for his sister Angela Boyd, and then 4 apiece for Kirsten Edwards and also Lee Griffin, who picked up her gold star because she won a singles title as well, I think 6 years ago. And so she was presented with a gold star for winning 5 national titles. So that quartet have been something else when it's come to this discipline in this country.
Outstanding record they've got. And of course both of the Stevens combination, they will both be featuring in the Intercentre. I brought to the best of my knowledge that Dunedin side has been picked, and I see they were both played in the last representative fixture, so I'm taking that assumption. And Sarah Tokomo will be playing for the Wellington side at home in the Intercentre in a couple of weeks' time, and certainly played in that semi-final this afternoon. A couple of absolute just top-class bowls when required. So as we go to end 3, it's the Wellington combination holding the shot just lower the jack. First bowl, second bowl of Sarah Tokomo just slightly higher the jack. And it's good to know that we were able to bring this coverage to you right throughout the final series, and we trust you're enjoying this coverage. It's certainly been a pleasure for Brenton and myself, and Tamara and Erin to be able to bring you this coverage in the splendid weather which we've had down here in Central Otago.
Yeah, the wind certainly picked up more today than it had probably the last 4 days, at the very least, since we arrived. But hasn't really been too much of a factor. And as I say, that it's not as windy as it was earlier this afternoon, especially for those semi-finals and later on the quarter-finals. Just gusting at times, but still very pleasant conditions.
Plays underneath the low bowl to the jack, sits right in behind the jack, and just played her line under the shorter bolt of husband Roger and drew right to the jack. It's the lorry guy now trying to make amends, going to get close to getting some contact. Is he on that shot bowl? No, he just goes by. So he plays the second of his 4 bowls. His first one was very short, so can Bronwyn Stevens just follow that line? She played with her first bowl here. And again, that looks on that good line. Just going to go by, but it was certainly on that scoring line, that's for sure. Holding 1 is the Stevens combination.
Apart from that one bowl, messy head.
Certainly
what
is.
we've become accustomed to today. This is a final, of course. Extra riding on this one, a national title on the line, the inaugural Summerset National Mixed Pairs.
So Laurie Guy slightly wider, but just sits just in behind, sits higher the jack. Bronwyn Stevens again will come on her backhand, just trying to find that track, visualising that breaking point just under the blue bowl of her Roger. That's certainly the track. It's going to run up high enough for shot. I'm sure it is. It'd be 2. And Laurie Guy persisting on that what I'd call challenging hand to get the shot now.
He doesn't like it.
Well, it certainly won't hold up on that line.
He was gesturing that it was narrow. He needed it to be wider. The weight's not too bad, but he was well under the line.
But again, you can clearly see there's what I would call a friendlier line to the jack on that backhand than what there is on the forehand, as Bronwyn Stevens has taken advantage of with 2 of her bowls. And well, that's still tight. That tightens the backhand line up a wee bit, but not entirely. And that's certainly out to the blue bowl, the jack low blue bowl. That to me is still the line to play. Will be 2 shots at this stage to the Bronwyn Roger Stevens combination.
Looking to bounce back straight away after really unfortunately dropping a 4 as the jack came back up the green with a drive from Bronwyn Stevens. Sarah Tokomo now on the mat for this Victorian pairing.
Playing on that backhand side, needs to get past through the port.
Oh, just narrowly actually just missed the jack.
Yeah.
Looking out the window live, it wasn't that far away. Just went through between the 2 bowls of Bronwyn Stevens, the 2 pink bowls. And Laurie Guy, unfortunately, right in line with our camera, trying to get a good look. Obviously, first time a number of these players have played on a live stream, and easy for them to forget that there's a camera there.
So Roger Stevens now going to that forehand side. Needs to get past this front bowl. This is the Laurie Guy bowl. Does not. So it looks like we're going to see backhand attack again from Sarah Tacoma. And it is trying to get down to that shot bowl. Oh, well played.
Oh, very well played. Cuts it to 1. Now looking to play on that backhand side to either promote the Bronwyn-Stevens bowl, but ideally come around the Bronwyn-Stevens bowl.
Going to the backhand is Roger Stevens, I think a more friendlier draw, but well played by Sarah Tacoma. Just missed getting the jack. So watch this bowler, Roger Stevens, come to rest.
I think it was enough for second, was it? I have to wait and see at the scoreboard. It's changed, but I think it was given a good round of applause from those around the green. So you can only assume that it was enough for a second. We'll wait for that scoreboard to be updated shortly. We're underway now on the 4th end of 16. This the final of the Summerset National Mixed Pairs. The beautiful Alexandra Bowling Club in Central Otago. If you have just joined our coverage.
And how far is this going to come back to that centre line? It's certainly on the good track. Is it going to sit on the bowls and fall? Yes, it will. Well played by Laurie Guy. Certainly the shot.
It's much better start to the end for both players, really, isn't it? Both pairings. This time it was Bronwyn-Stevens and Laurie Guy off the front. And they all get nice and close. Laurie Guy's last bowl just sitting perfectly on one of Bronwyn-Stevens' first 2 efforts.
So Roger Stevens electing to go on the forehand because any movement of the jack certainly is in favour of the Stevens combination, as it will move the jack back to where the 2 Bronwyn-Stevens bowls sitting. And it's just going to pull up low and underneath the jack. So Sarah Tacoma just questioned herself, but to come round that front bowl on her backhand. Not going to. It's going to be under, might just and short as well. Does tighten the line a wee bit on that forehand side, but the line now for Roger Stevens is just under that bowl, just missing it by centimetres. That would arc its way to where the counting bowls are. And watching, just wondering how far it'll come back on that line. In fact, it's going to get into, runs into the Sarah Tacoma bowl. And there's Tacoma again on the backhand, needs to get a wee bit more width on her backhand to get down to these bowls of Bronwyn-Stevens. Sits jack level. So Roger Stevens staying on that forehand side, trying to draw down into this port. Might be just a bowl wide. In fact, knocks.
Yeah, unfortunate.
Well, it's not all bad, Brendan, because from Bronwyn-Stevens' point of view, it narrows that line down to the jack on that forehand where those 2 bowls of Bronwyn-Stevens are sitting. And wider this time is Sarah Tacoma, and that'll come out and where those bowls are sitting.
Bronwyn-Stevens just looking over the head as Sarah Tacoma's bowl comes in and behind. Stevens indicating that 2 down, I think, was the signal to her husband, Roger.
Yeah, it's definitely 2 down, and the option is there to play up with weight.
I thought it might be 3. But 2, I'm pretty sure the indication. Obviously, Bronwyn Stevens able to get right over the head.
Electing to play that on the backhand to try and get to the jack. And got the front bowl.
Got nothing. It's got that wide bowl and then knocked another one out. The back and the side.
I was a bit surprised that played it on the backhand, Brennan, because on the forehand there was no bowls in the front. So, and of course the Wellington combination do also have the back bowl. Here is now Sarah to come up, trying to add to the count. Needs to get past this front bowl of Roger Stevens, and will do. This is well played and a toucher. It's definitely 3.
Very well bowled by Sarah Tokomo.
I'm sure we'll see attacking weight.
Bronwyn Stevens making her way to the mat now. Board still yet to be updated. I'm pretty sure that they scored a 2 previous end, so it should be 4 all after 3. So we are playing the 4th end, but we unfortunately didn't catch it. So
Stevens on the, might get some luck here.
Yeah. I don't know if it's changed the situation.
Could still lie 3.
Still a 3. They did push one of the Sarah Tokomo bowls out of the head. Tokomo herself just looking over. So yeah, still indicating 3.
Saw that the drawing being done. So the main thing here for Guy is not to fatten up the target and endeavouring to get past this bowl of Bronwyn Stevens, and will run lower the jack. It's not where he wants it. That just opens that line up to, depending on the weight that's going to be played.
Well, I think weight is going to be played again here. This time just more of a reaching weight. Oh no, back to draw. Has she got the weight right, Bronwyn Stevens?
Don't think so.
Not enough. A chance to make this 4 here potentially. Laurie Guy. If Sarah Tokomo's reading of the head was right, that they're still holding 3.
So needing to get past this bowl, this Stevens bowl on the draw and sit and stay. And don't think so. That's why I thought the other hand might have been more kinder to try and
jack level may
sit
still
down.
count.
So there's
2's taken away. So Sarah Tokomo bowls are taken out. Now Roger Stevens will go to work with the measure. Let's see if it is indeed 3. And the Victoria Peering thought it was for that final bowl from Laurie Guy. So playing the 4th end of 16 of the final of the Summerset National Mixed Pairs 3. It is confirmed by Roger Stevens. So 7-4 should now be. Just seeking confirmation. Confirmed. 7-4 Sarah Tokomo and Laurie Guy leading Bronwyn and Roger Stevens.
So that's 4 of 16 ends gone, and Jack's been delivered by Sarah Tacoma. Had a great year this year at the Victoria Club, as we said. On the backhand,
Saratokamo's first bowl, almost jack level. It's not quite the right line, a bit too much green with her first. Bit of a guideline potentially for Roger Stevens to try and obviously draw inside that bowl, get the line to the jack. He's just going to come under the line, but pretty handy first attempt on this 15th of 16 of our final of the Summerset National Mixed Pairs, which will bring an end to our week in Central Otago. What a week it has been.
So that bowl of Sarah Tokamo is going to go low, a couple of metres short in fact. I was just going to say that the backhand appears to have that kind of draw. As we see that with that bowler Roger Stevens, just see that arc as it just breaks its way back to the centre line.
So the two bowlers played by the leads, they now make their way to the head as Bronwyn Stevens and Laurie Guy to the mat. They'll play four bowls successively. Of course, this is how it works in mixed pairs, 2-4-2 mixed pairs.
There's a good arc on the bowl here. This bowler Laurie Guys just breaks its way in towards the head. How far is it going to run? Runs right in behind the jack, sits dead on the centre line.
And very handy first bowl from Laurie Guy. There's some grey clouds that come overhead. Rain was forecast, wasn't it, Kevin?
Yeah, there was some...
not a lot.
Not a lot. There was some forecast for later on this afternoon. There's a possibility of some rain. And again, Laurie Guy has got this bolt out on that very nice drawing arc. Got a wee bit more weight on it, but right back onto that centre line.
Still very warm, despite the wind which is coming and going here. You can see the shade covers over the back of the rinks fluttering a bit. They were moving quite a lot more early this afternoon when it was a bit more blustery. Started out touch wide there, Bronwyn Stevens. Still favour, and that's gone all the way to the ditch in fact. So maybe it wasn't the worst green, just maybe the weight a bit too much for that much green.
And again, Guy's got that arc on the bowl, but will go by towards the ditch and does.
In a row. First from Bronwyn Stevens, now Laurie Guy.
Well, it's very easy to do with a bit of breeze, green running around 16, 17 seconds, and you're playing a full length head. And it doesn't take much to put a metre on to go by, but this looks a good adjustment here, does it not? By Bronwyn Stevens just going to...
Yeah, pretty handy.
Sits on Roger Stevens' bowl in behind the head.
Yeah, right underneath the graphic there, finished up. Laurie Guy, as he looks to make his correction from been a bit heavy with his last. Needs to come inside these dry bowls and will. This is pretty handy. This might be enough for second shot if it holds up. It does. No indication by Sarah Tokomo whether that is second or not. We're still just holding the one.
Well, there's no doubt, Brendan, it just appears that backhand drawer just seems to have that very nice finish on it on that last meter. And of course there we just see if you don't get your bowl out on that natural arc, it will certainly run away under the head. So Sarah Tokomo makes her way back to the mat. She'll play first. No doubt will continue on the backhand side. Not sure whether it's one or two.
Yeah, it's hard to tell obviously from our angle.
Definitely holding one.
Yeah, certainly one. And there, as I mentioned, there was no indication previously whether the last bowl of guys enough to add a second to the picture. So Tokomo now with her third bowl of the end.
Well, it's on a pretty good arc too, Ben. I just question how quick is it going on the way through. It might sit on the lorry guy, but if it sits on the front of it and rolls over, that would, I would say, that would be a counter.
Yeah, I think so, certainly.
It fell in, yeah, didn't it?
Be interesting. There's still again no indication from either player at the head. There either Bronwyn Stevens or Laurie Guy as to whether it had changed the situation.
This is a good line too here from Roger Stevens. How far is this going to come back? Is it going to get a slide off that bowl? If it sat on the inside of that bowl, certainly would have. Still no indication of. We know it's definitely one anyway.
So, Sarah Tokomo's last bowl. I don't think she likes this
Doesn't
one.
Like it.
See
why.
Knew it was narrow. When you see that hand move out the side, it usually means under green that wanted it to be wider.
Roger Stevens quickly into his work, straight away onto the mat on the backhand. He knows where he needs to go and has got it out on that very nice arc that we've been talking about. Brendan, they're taking a keen interest in this bowl as it breaks towards the head.
The weight?
Under.
It doesn't. Finishes well short. And just one. Yeah, the signal from Laurie Guy. That's another one to the Victoria pairing. So 8-4 now after 5. Here's 5 of the 16 ends. And this, the final of the Summerset National Mixed Pairs here at the Alexandra Bowling Club in Central Otago. And some of those clouds are starting to look a bit menacing above.
So the only one of the 4 played in the national final is that of Roger Stevens, who of course played in that final to the
at 9-9.
Kernan at 9-9.
Dean Elgar won that one. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, scored a big number with 2 ends to go and dragged the jack back.
That's right. Yeah. Actually, Roger Stevens is on the program. I just noticed. There he is.
Oh, he is
might
too.
See Andrew Kelly 4 from last year at Mount Maunganui. So maybe that was a sign that Roger Stevens is going to have a good Summerset Nationals here. I think from memory losing in the round of 16 or round of 32. Even I think it was.
They lost to Mike Solomon.
That's right.
On the Saturday afternoon, they lost their game over on the far rink.
That's right.
At Alexandra. So Laurie Guy, no improvement, I don't think, with this second bowl. Going to slide under the head, and Bronwyn Stevens has gone heavy over the head, but still a lot of bowls to come, and Bronwyn Stevens will play on her forehand.
I must say it's been played at a good tempo this final so far. We haven't
Certainly
seen players making multiple trips to their head,
walking excursions.
Yeah, because obviously it happens naturally with the changeover with the 2 bowls first up, then the head. and then you return to the mat for your last 2 bowls. So it happens naturally in this format. You shouldn't see as many extra visits to the head, but that may change if it's still really close in the latter stages, which you can understand more of.
It's interesting. I was talking to one of the players who actually got defeated today, and they were telling me that they'd sort of been told at the commencement of play about the walking up and down, that it was not, it had been commented on as a general comment to the competition.
Yeah, well, I think this has certainly been played in the right spirit.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt about that.
So that'll be the shot, the bowl of that first bowl there. Oh, Sarah Tokumo lands right on the centre line.
Roger Stevens' reply.
It's on a good line as well.
Is it just going to go in between the jack and the Tokumo bowl? Yes, it does. Pretty handy, though. I know you just need to make a slight adjustment. You can sit on the Tokumo bowl, or either pull it back and try and sit in between the jack and the Tokumo bowl, where there is a good, probably metre there. Now, camera angle will be slightly misleading, but there'll be plenty of space. But Tokumo beats him to it. She lands on her previous.
2 good bowls right back to the centre line.
Certainly are. And Stevens, no mucking around on the mat. Knows what he wants to do.
How far is this bowl going to come back? Because it certainly was on a similar line. Finishes jack level, will be shot, and does.
Yeah, very good. Second bowl from Roger Stevens. As I said, wasn't far away with his first. Good adjustment made. He found his line, just needed to make the adjustment with his weight, didn't he?
Oh, this bowl of Sarah Tokumo, is this coming back with the weight? Has it got the weight? No,
yeah,
it hasn't.
That's it. It looked like a good line, didn't it? Just the speed of it coming down the green was the issue.
Certainly had a good line. 8-4. The Wellingtonians lead the husband and wife combination who play out of the North East Valley Club in Dunedin. Roger Stevens changing his hand. Doesn't want to get tangled up on any of the front bowls. And this is a good bowl from Stevens.
Wonderfully done. Changing the hand with aplomb.
It was never easy when you change your hand like that, and fell in as well. So I think we're seeing.
Yeah, the one thing is created a bit of a target.
But a reaching weight, because the difficulty is, not difficulty, but the challenge is for the guy combination. They've got no back bowls if to get onto the jack. Let's see what weight is going to be used here to hold up under that line. Playing underneath the head to get to them. Got one. Great effort.
Yeah, it certainly was. And now there's just the one bowl of Roger Stevens sitting there amongst a number for both Sarah Tokumo and Laurie Guy. So you want to change the situation here. 3 good bowls to start with. Can he cap it off? This isn't going to change the situation, but no doubt I think he wants a bit of cover in there. Get the deepest bowl, make sure of that. But it's pretty wide, not exactly where he wanted it. So a bit of a chat mid-green now between Laurie Guy and Sarah Tokumo as they change over. Not too much of a chat.
Well, if you're just going to drive, of course, one, it's got to be quick and it's got to make sure that there is no back movement of the jack. And I think he might just got to be careful here. Just got to be careful here.
Oh, unfortunate there. Good effort, but just a touch narrow. What it meant, he got only a small bit of contact with the shot bowl and ended up pushing back a couple of Sarah Tokumo's, which were handy.
May only be one though still.
Yeah, I think it's still only one.
Still looking at it there.
So it actually hasn't changed the picture massively.
This will be 2 though.
Yeah, great.
Certainly do.
Third bowl there from Bronwyn Stevens.
Yeah, well played by Bronwyn Stevens. Just draws lower the jack. Right in front of the jack, in fact. It's a guy endeavour to draw up on his forehand, follow the Bronwyn Stevens bowl. How far is this going to come back? Because it's on a good line. Just going to go by, is it? Or gets the jack?
Oh,
Right.
unfortunate. Great attempt on the draw. That did not miss by much.
Was certainly heading in the right direction and just had that yard of weight on it, pushing it past the jack, but certainly...
And now a chance to make it 3 here for Bronwyn Stevens after that near miss from Laurie Guy. She just wants more of the same from her previous bowl.
On a good line. Has it got the weight? I don't think it's got the weight.
I don't think it's got enough to count here. 2 confirmed by Sarah Tokomo. So 8-6 it is now. Sarah Tokomo and Laurie Guy leading Bronwyn and Roger Stevens. And we have completed 6 of the 16 ends. 2 shots in it. This is the final of the Summerset National Mixed Pairs. The culmination of our week-long stay in Central Otago here at the host club headquarters, Alexandra Bowling Club. Played at a number of clubs throughout the Central Otago region, which we've had the privilege of attending a number of them. I was lucky enough to make my way out to Roxburgh yesterday. It was great to meet some of the members out there. 2 Green Club, despite only having 25 or so members, and made my way to Clyde, Bannockburn and Ormaco, all with the Bowls New Zealand President Mark O'Connor, who was making his way around a number of the clubs. I know he's pretty much got to visit all of them. There are a number of others, of course, who hosted section play. That was just post-section play yesterday, the clubs that were hosting that, but also Alexandra RSA, who were hosting yesterday, Arrowtown, Hawea, Patearoa, Waipiata, Wanaka and Cromwell. A number of clubs have made these Summerset Nationals in Central Otago possible. So big thank you to all the clubs for hosting what has been a great event. Now we just hope we get through our final without any weather interruptions. There was rain, of course, on the finals day in the Summerset National Fours. It didn't interrupt proceedings. We were able to play through it, and hopefully, if there is rain similar to that, it doesn't actually halt play.
It was very strange rain, actually, because it was
very heavy, wasn't it? I know people thought it was hail.
But it was raining heavier at one end of the green than it was at the other. It was
incredibly localised.
It was quite strange. We were sitting here in the commentary box and looking out, and then you looked on the monitor, and it was pretty heavy. And so
at our end of the green, it wasn't too bad. At the other end, it was. So yeah, it was very strange.
But no interruption. No. So Bronwyn Stevens now playing on her forehand. When you get past the front bowl of Rogers, I don't think it's going to. In fact, runs into it. Might have run it in for a shot. That was the indication just there from, I think, from Sarah Tokomo that it actually made shot.
Yeah, I think so.
So Laurie Guy now on his backhand, trying to get past the Stevens bowl, but that's going to be short.
Yeah, struggling a bit with the shorter end this time. 3 bowls now from the Victoria pairing, all short. Well, all the bowls obviously are short, but there's 3 of the shortest.
So Bronwyn Stevens staying on that forehand. Just how far is this going to run?
Applauded by Roger Stevens seeing a bowl past their head. If there is any jack movement.
So Laurie Guy now electing to change to the forehand, which I find a wee bit surprising, but all they're doing now at present is the Victoria side is building up. Well, there's only one bowl over the head. Needs to get past the blue bowl to make shot of it. Not sure how much room there is. Looks maybe a metre, I would say, to get past it. And this looks a better bowl from Bronwyn Stevens. Looks to have less weight. Come back to the centre line. Still goes by a metre.
Might be enough for third. Just looking out the window live, it's pretty much right in line with where I'm sitting in our commentary position here in the Alexandra Bowling Club.
Well, Laurie Guy has got this bowl out on a better arc. Where's it going to finish? You saw it just go level or just past the jack.
Might be interesting. It might be second.
8-6. The Laurie Guy, Sarah Tokomo side lead Roger M. Bronwyn Stephen after 6 of the 16 ends. And this looks a better bowl. How's the weight here? Looks, it's past the blue. It's well played by Bronwyn Stevens. Always look good.
Oh, that shot. That's closest to the jack, and then they've got the bowl that's just short of the head, which should be second.
So here's Laurie Guy trying to, looks on the wide side, needs to come back a long way from there and won't.
Yeah, but a mixed bag from Laurie Guy. Those 4 bowls on that 7th end. So now up to Sarah Tokomo to try and get one close. Laurie Guy just having a look over the head from a different angle, seeing what the options might be for his playing partner.
Well, looking how the head's lying now, that the shot reduction side is obviously on this forehand side. The backhand you're going to get tangled up possibly. So the forehand side is still open. That's where Roger Stevens is elected to go. Looks as though it's going, needs to get past. Bronwyn Stevens' bowl gets a rub. I don't know, wouldn't have gone far enough.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think the Laurie Guy bowl just to the right of screen. Her own bowl will be third at the moment.
So here is Sarah Tokomo trying to draw in between the Stevens bowls. And you'll see that going short under the head. So definitely 2 shots. Roger Stevens plays his last bowl on this, the 7th end. That's certainly out on the wider side. How far will it come back? Not far enough, I don't think.
No,
it
not
won't.
enough to change the picture here. 2 down though by the looks of things on the head. Sarah Tokomo and Laurie Guy. So searching for something here. The Victoria appearing. Here it comes.
Well, this is on a better line, is it not?
Just going to come around the shot pile. It does. Just misses it. Good attempt. I think that was 2 signalled, was it?
I think I saw Bronwyn Stevens, I thought signalled 2.
A very quick signal went up. We'll look at the board shortly for confirmation, but we think we should be all tied up at 8 apiece. Bronwyn and Roger Stevens and Sarah Tokomo and Laurie Guy, as Laurie Guy is able to share a bit of a joke with Bronwyn Stevens, who's got the mat and the jack. And we're approaching the halfway stage now of this final of the Summerset National Mixed Pairs. Confirming It is 2. It's 8 apiece. Bronwyn and Roger Stevens tied up with Sarah Tokumo and Laurie Guy. 7 ends completed.
Locked up, 8 all, and a good opening bowl from Bronwyn Stevens, just going by the jack. Laurie Guy, his backhand. Needs to start coming back. It's going to sit outside, sit well outside the Bronwyn Stevens bowl. Again, a good line here from Bronwyn Stevens.
Yeah, just a touch too wide, and it hangs out there, isn't it, if you haven't quite got the line right. And she was only just on the wide side. The weight was pretty handy. Just a touch on that wide side, and it didn't come back. A much narrower line here from Laurie Guy.
That'll go
too
now.
narrow, and that'll race away and find a similar home to where Bronwyn Stevens has finished up.
Finishes jack level, but it was there was a metre off the line, as you could see then. So change over, and we'll now have Sarah Tokumo will play her four bowls, as will Roger Stevens.
Thank you very much, Laurie Guy, as well. He was very much aware of the camera there, trying to make sure he's out of the way of the head. We appreciate all the players. Obviously having to perhaps change where they normally would stand. Conscious of trying to give us good shots from our indoor cameras so we can get a good picture of the head, which is exactly what Laurie Guy is doing. As Bronwyn Stevens makes her way back onto the green. Roger collects his wife's bowl out to that left-hand side of the picture.
On the backhand, and that looks to be a better line. Bowler Sarah Tokumo's looks on a better line. Has it got the weight to get all the way for shot? Falls out. I don't think so. Still favour the Bronwyn Stevens bowl just in behind the jack.
This looks a bit under the line. And his weight wasn't bad as well, though. Just not quite getting the right line. Almost jack level, just jack low.
So you can steer it. Tokumo now drawing that port. She beats her first bowl. She would certainly have shot. And it looks as though just what she's going to do. How far is it going to
slow
run?
down, that was the issue. So not quite enough to grab shot. 2 decent bowls though. Just needed to make slight adjustments to both. That would have been perfect.
So Roger Stevens, it looks to be out on that wider side, and it is. So Laurie Guy having a look.
It doesn't come back from out there, as that's outside the pegs.
Certainly 2 different lines, aren't they? There's the backhand side down here's certainly got what I'd call a friendly draw. Now that will just wait. That was the camera, but it looked narrow. Oh no, it's on a good line.
Yes, that side on camera is misleading, isn't it?
Yeah, because that's a good arc on the bowl.
It's a very good arc. It's perfect arc. Look at that. That's the shot.
That's
lovely.
Definitely the shot. You can see that was always on a good line. Once just the indication from Bronwyn Stevens, I think just the one.
Yeah, I think that was what was signalled. So she must favour either her pink bowl or a blue bowl of Husband Roger is second.
As we saw with his third bolt of Roger Stevens, just got out on that wide side and pay the price, and then you get in the narrow side you also pay the. It's a very fine line.
Yeah, overcorrection. It's a tricky part of the green. There's no doubt about that.
So can Sarah Tokumo draw another? How far is this going to come back? Hasn't got the weight to get all the way back.
Roger Stevens now looking over it. From our viewpoint, certainly the pink bowl of Bronwyn Stevens is closer than the black bowl of Sarah Tokumo on the left-hand side of the screen. We're not too sure, obviously, the camera angle. Maybe it's even the short bowl, maybe closer. Hard to know.
So Bronwyn Stevens now on her forehand that will disappear under that hard line down there, Brendan.
Yeah, it's pretty cruel on that side. You do wonder if just playing on the backhand, we've got the nicer draw. It might be the way to go. Even a risk, maybe pushing a ball closer.
So indication to Bronwyn Stevens from Roger, just try and get a wee bit wider. But as we saw, if you do get a bit wider as well, you can not find your way back to the jack.
Which this might be an example of.
It's just going to see exactly that.
It's going to stay in, is it? Or was it going to go into the ditch? I think it's gone into the ditch. Yep, collected by Sarah Tokumo there. So just trying to work out if they're holding one or more. Yeah, just one.
So the thought for the Wellington combination, if they are to reach the bowl of Bronwyn Stevens and turn it a couple of times through the head, does it bring the other two shots, the other two bowls in? Of course, there's two bowls here. There's one of Bronwyn Stevens and one of Roger Stevens as well. So we'll see.
Laurie Guy with the last bowl of the end, playing with weight.
He is playing to get down to
that Bronwyn Stevens bowl. He's not far away. He's got it. Well played. So is that 3 or 2? 3 indicated there by Sarah Tokumo. So great bowl that from Laurie Guy. Well identified. If I get rid of that Bronwyn Stevens second, I can turn that to a big number. And he has done just that. So 1 is turned into 3. And they take a 3-shot lead. 11-8. Sarah Tokumo and Laurie Guy leading Bronwyn and Roger Stevens.
I think you're right.
We are halfway through.
I think you're right, Brendan. But it's just, a thinking thing there. That game management part is how many bowls do you try and hold to keep the play on that forehand side, and then they're not becoming effective bowls. And
just to give you another second.
Just to give you another second,
yeah.
Because as it happened then, that you put yourself, it doesn't happen very often, but you put yourself in a vulnerable position of which Laurie Guy was able to take full advantage of.
Great start as well to start this 9th end by Sarah Tokumo. Thank you very much, Erin, providing refreshments for us in that commentary position.
Because you could clearly see on that forehand side, Brendan, couldn't you, that you got too narrow and you paid the price, and if you got out too wide, you also certainly paid the price as well. It was one, whereas that backhand, the backhand side both ways, to me, just seems to have that nice arc of the draw in it, and you get rewarded for it. You get rewarded for it, not so much fighting the hand, trying to find the line. And a good opening bowl from Roger Stevens just sits behind the jack as Sarah Tokomo had moved the bowl or the jack off the centre line with her toucher. And again, got the bowl out on a pretty good arc. How far is it going to come back? Oh, it comes past the 2 metre mark. It's okay, they won't mind that. 11-8 after 8 of the 16 ends at the halfway mark. It's the Wellington combination in front.
Yeah, of course, they were a combination that beat 14-time National Open champion Gary Lawson and his partner Dale Rayner. That was in the last 16 at Alexandra RSA Bowling Club. Less than a K down the road from where we are at the tournament headquarters, Alexandra Bowling Club, whereas Bronwyn and Roger Stevens emerged from post-section play at Clyde. And they beat Mark Noble, the 2-time Commonwealth Games silver medalist. And in the previous round, Stevens got the better of Craig Merrilees and Claire Hendra, who we saw earlier today in our quarter-final. After they had beaten Sheldon Baggery-Howley and Selena Smith, they fell in a close one to the Stevens, 16-15. Bronwyn and Roger winning that one. And Sarah Tokomo and Laurie Guy, we live streamed that game for you, their semi-final. They got the better of Paul Price and Anne Muir from Kensington and Whangarei, 13-11.
So Laurie Guy electing to play on that forehand. Bronwyn Stevens will no doubt be on the backhand. Certainly, it's the area where they draw from. Just a matter of what the weight's like on the way past. And it's going to be too quick.
Yeah, pretty much the bottom of the screen, that previous shot where the graphics were was where the ditch is. So it gives you an indication of how close the jack is to the ditch, about 2 metres. There's that 2 metre mark just to the right of it where the jack started.
Well, Laurie Guy, although he's coming up well short, at least he's on the better draw hand really. Bronwyn Stevens now endeavour to come past that very short bowl of Laurie Guy's.
Can almost use that as a guide. Come inside or around as Bronwyn Stevens is doing. Just rests on the Tokomo bowl, which was the back bowl.
And now back to the forehand goes Laurie Guy. Doesn't want to try and risk getting caught up on his own short bowl. And might get a bit of luck here, or ran into the bowl of...
Yeah, not what he was trying to do, but might still be 2. Or might be 2 rather than just the 1.
Roger Stevens having a good look to see.
Still plenty of options, obviously. There's not, apart from that one well short of the head, there's not bowls in front of the jack.
So Bronwyn Stevens staying on that backhand side, and just gonna, it's a good effort, gonna finish. There's a sterling effort from Bronwyn Stevens. That's
perfect.
I'd say that's shot, I would say.
Yeah, measure
all around.
Shot.
You'll certainly see that bowl of Bronwyn Stevens got that lovely arc and draw back towards the centre line, and was duly rewarded for it. This has got to be narrow.
Yeah, it might take out that Bronwyn Stevens bowl though. Oh, it just moves it, and I think that might confirm that shot now, you'd think.
Yeah, one would think so, but
I think Bronwyn Stevens will just try and repeat what she just did there, come around that short bowl of Laurie Guy's. I think maybe that Guy bowl was right on the draw line to the jack, but if you get around it, you can get pretty close. Or she can come inside it. She gets a little feather on, and that's going to be pretty handy too.
Well, I was just going to say, Brendan, if it fell in from there, could. Well, who knows?
Yeah, a little given away there. So who's holding shot? He's going to have a look over, is he? No.
Well, that the indication is that he is saying, I think, that Sarah Tokumo's bowl directly behind. Well, it looks like it there on the camera as well. It looks like shot. That's the indication from Laurie Guy. On the mat, Sarah Tokumo playing on that, I would call far more generous backhand side of the rink. You'll get rewarded if you've got your green right. And look at this, if she sits inside that bowl, and you needed one more roll to sit inside the bowl, and certainly would have been close to shot. Bronwyn Stevens now having a very close look to see what the story is.
She reckons one. I don't know which one, but
no.
There's two of Bronwyn Stevens' bowls in the area. Laurie Guy seemed to suggest that Sarah Tokumo's bowl behind that black bowl there.
That was the indication, wasn't it? This you watch the bowl now. There's a good line. This just getting past the front bowl there. This is a good bowl of Roger Stevens.
Discussion, I think.
Got a touch on the jack as well. Now that slight touch only may well have turned into 3.
Oh, is that?
Well, we just saw that just fell over.
Having a long look here. Yeah, so 2 down, he reckons. So he pointed out those bowls for us, one of them being Roger Stevens' blue bowl and the pink bowl of Bronwyn Stevens.
Well, one has to be careful here. Does Sarah Tokumo, she doesn't play with too much weight if she likes to play the forehand, because you wouldn't want to jar your own bowl out of the head here. And she's certainly playing with weight. And one down.
Yeah, it lands right next to Bronwyn Stevens' bowl.
It's interesting.
Maybe 2.
Interesting. You'll see that other bowl that we spoke
2 says Bronwyn Stevens.
It did disappear, that other bowl as well. So.
Again, it looked like Laurie Guy sharing a joke with Bronwyn Stevens. She was able to see the funny side of it. One of the first times that this has happened, isn't it?
Certainly is.
A long look at the head from both players.
Well, Roger Stevens wouldn't. I know he wants to play with some sort of weight to reach those bowls, but we've got to remember that there's a touch-up sitting in the ditch which belongs to the Laurie Guy side, so certainly want to jar anything onto the jack.
I think they'd be pretty happy with their 2 here.
I would hope so.
And if you can come up with 3 rather conservatively, I'll do that. You're right. You wouldn't want to play with too much weight. When you say there's that Saratoga toucher in the ditch, you don't want to dislodge the jack from where it is now. Well, not significantly anyway. Is that going to find the gap?
Well, there was plenty.
So
there was plenty of weight.
It was. I think that would be a pretty happy result.
Yeah,
I'll take that. So just waiting for confirmation of the 2, but certainly looked like it. No, just one.
Just the one.
Just the one. So 11-9 it is now. Saratoga and Laurie Guy leading Bronwyn and Roger Stevens. And we have completed 9 of the 16 ends. Very short end. The mat's all the way back.
Certainly is a short end, isn't it?
See how this tests them. Chosen by Bronwyn and Roger Stevens. Down by 2. 6 ends to play after this. And what is the final of the Summerset National Mixed Pairs?
Good opening bowl.
Saratoga and Laurie Guy, as you can see on the back of Kokomo's shirt. Victoria Club out of Wellington. They've had a rich the Nationals in the past decade, winning multiple national titles. The latest as recent as Sunday. And Lee Griffin claimed the women's fours, part of Mandy Boyd's quartet, and taking on Bronwyn and Roger Stevens out of Northeast Valley in Dunedin, formerly Tarangi in Southland, now out of the Dunedin and the Otago Centre.
And just rocked on the Laurie Guy bowl, which is certainly the shop. He's Guy now on the back end, playing his first 2 bowls. This is on a good line too, this bowl. This is going to run down towards the jack and moves it around the corner. Sits in behind it. Well played by the Victoria with his 2 bowls there. Great start for the head.
Straight away found the right weight and the right line on the shorter length end. Laurie Guy. See now how Saratoga and Roger Stevens adapt. A bit of a chance for a drinks break here. Stevens has made his way off for a nature break. So Saratoga, chance to take a seat. Why not? It's been some long days on their feet, that's for sure.
Well, this is the 3rd day, of course, of, some 4 rounders yesterday. Played it from 8:15 till 8 p.m.
Yeah, exactly right.
And of course, a number of them had played 3 rounds the previous day as well.
Yeah, both of these.
They're literally on
played 4 rounds yesterday.
On game 10, aren't they? Really?
Yeah, exactly right. They both had a pretty exhaustive run to get here. And they would have obviously played in the 4s as well.
So is Roger Stevens looking for that jack trail. Straight away, Laurie Guy, rightly.
Bronwyn Stevens made the quarterfinals of the 4s, wasn't it, with Sharon Sims?
Sharon Sims, that's correct.
So she made it all through 4 days in the 4s before 3 days in the mixed pairs.
Good bowl there from Sarah Tokama, because what it does is it cuts off that trail shot that was sitting there a moment ago by just finishing lower the jack And as you'll see, just forces the Roger Stevens bowl to play under the head. It's imperative now, though, that the Wellington combination get a wider bowl really out to where those pink bowls are sitting, those being the Bronwyn Stevens bowls, and that is exactly what's endeavouring to be done to cover that other side of the head. But wow, another very good bowl from Sarah Tokomo there, just sitting underneath the jack. Definitely 4 shots, a lot of bowls to come though. Roger Stevens, how far is he going to come back? Looking closely at it, at the jack.
Good response.
Good response. Touches the jack onto the Laurie Guy. Oh, may only be the one now. Well played.
It gives them something amongst all those bowls. Although Victoria appearing.
You're endeavouring to play a shot here to try and possibly dislodge the Roger Stevens bowl.
I think it can be, but obviously
It's
it would take a
hard
great
shot.
bowl.
That's a... Yeah,
You found it pretty difficult playing on that forehand side.
Well, especially to try and play that narrow line that Brendan, because one would think you'd need to play as well with a wee bit of weight to move it out of the head. And we've seen the difficulty. Just the one we saw there from Bronwyn Stevens indicate to Roger, we're just the one down. So really, it's a repeat shot from Roger Stevens to try and get another bowl in on the head.
Yeah, try and replicate his last if he can.
It's on a good line.
Yeah, this is looking pretty similar to his last. Very well played.
Oh, they'd be happy with that. And to be fair to the Laurie Guy combination, there's not really a shot there. That's I still think that Sarah Tokomo is far more comfortable playing on that backhand side. Holding the shot.
Pretty good effort. What was really, you get it to be inch perfect, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
To get dislodged that Roger Stevens blue white speck bowl, which is in that head.
Well, we'll have a look at the head in a moment. So I just wonder whether, a roll of the blue bowl there, second shot of Roger Stevens' bowl sitting there, you get a turn out of that on the back end. Can you make 2, 3 of it? There we go. We'll see in a moment. Yeah, you could well make 3 of it, Brendan, if you get past it. The danger is, of course, you touch the jack on the way through, and there's 2 waiting bowls there of the Stevens team just sitting in there as well. So, see what Bronwyn Stevens elects to play. Looks as though, I presume she'll stay on that.
Yeah, gust of wind just coming through. So just step back off the mat. Both Bronwyn Stevens and Laurie Guy holding their hats. Obviously, Laurie Guy must be wearing a non-Wellington weather hat.
Yeah,
it must be where he just brings to nationals. Otherwise, he'd be holding his hat a lot, wouldn't he?
Certainly would be. So Bronwyn Stevens playing what I'd call that really challenging forehand shot. Definitely one shot to the Guy combination as he plays his first bowl of the last 2 of N10, leading 11-9 and holding the shot and just draws towards the head. Yeah, I think it's a really hard shot now as well for Bronwyn Stevens to get down there to get that forehand result, to get a touch on the shot bowl to move over to the jack. Just wonder if she's played that with more weight on it line to... That's certainly on that wide side.
Laurie Guy. Last bowl of the 10th end. Oh, he's managed to do it, has he? No, just the one.
It's the one. It was
a good attempt.
It's a
trying to turn it into
attempt.
two.
Very good attempt.
So 12-9 it is now. Sarah Tokomo and Laurie Guy leading Bronwyn and Roger Stevens.
11 of 16 gone.
Oh, I think it was a two.
Did it make two?
Yeah. Through scoreboard reads 13-9. So
it was. Well, that was exceptionally good bowl then.
Yeah, from our viewpoint, it didn't look like it changed the head that much, but clearly it did, because it wasn't disputed either. So 13-9, 4-shot advantage now. 6 ends to play. Victoria combination. You just give away the jack.
Again.
Yeah, it's been quite familiar. Haven't really hurt them, has it?
No, it has not. It's been...
So they go short again, interestingly, here to Stevens, Team Stevens. It says on their shirt. Bronwyn and Roger Stevens.
$39 as we play the 11th end, and that certainly is a lot shorter. That end, isn't it? We've got now Brenton it in. So
interesting that this, Team Stevens picked that though, because I would have thought so far what we've seen is Guy and Tokomo who have looked very comfortable on the shorter ends.
That looks very short, that end.
Yeah, this is another level. This is very short. Matt is all the way back.
That's a good bowl from Roger Stevens. He's over the head. He can adjust now. It's a metre. So Sarah Tokomo will try and beat her last bowl on the backhand.
Yeah, the last time we had a short end playing this way, just looking out from our commentary position, I think the jack was a good 2 metres further down the green, at least. So a couple metres shorter.
So the challenge here on the forehand for Roger Stevens, because of that last short bowl of Sarah Tokomo, will it get around it or force it out wider, is to get the draw back towards the centre line, and needs to get the port. Won't quite. I'm sure we'll see. Now Guy will go to his favoured forehand, which has been certainly his favoured hand, going up towards the town end here at Alexandra.
Yeah, playing from what's the Clyde end. You've had the pleasure of staying, Kevin?
Certainly has been. It's been great. Tinker's Cottage. Now, how far is this bowl going to come back? Or has it got the weight to come back? This is a sterling effort. This bowl of Guys, this is a sterling effort. What a magnificent bowl.
Yeah, just a foot past the jack, as you can see there. And he played on the backhand as well instead of the forehand.
Yeah, just let it work. So Bronwyn Stevens now playing on that forehand. Roger Stevens is pretty keen on this one. Trying to get to the jack, gets the shot bowl, turns it over, and still one.
Yeah, indicates Sarah Tokomo, but great effort from Bronwyn Stevens.
Certainly
there.
Was. Fantastic effort. Yeah, Laurie Guy, he's on that same line again. Brenton just comes down past the short bowls. And this is pretty well played.
Just slides.
Just slid by, but certainly very good effort.
And get a couple more attempts, of course. Just try and replicate his first. He's got the line now. Does Laurie Guy just got to try and get the weight right. Likewise, Bronwyn Stevens is not far away as well. She gets an unfortunate touch on the jack, moves it towards
very unfortunate.
the Guy bowl. It's a toucher though.
Still just the one, as it was before. Bronwyn Stevens got that touch on the jack. So again, on that backhand, Laurie Guy out wider, endeavour to get to the two bowls of Bronwyn Stevens as well. And that's a good effort as well, because it certainly makes that trail shot just a bit harder. Going to see, Bronwyn Stevens now change her hand on the backhand, trying to follow the Laurie Guy bowl into the head. Guy leading 13-9. So we play the 11th end.
Laurie Guy going for a bit of a walk just to try and open up the angle and see the head from where he is. Obviously, the head's a bit guarded by that wall of three bowls, well short by a couple of metres. Backhand again is Guy. To follow a similar line to his last two. This looks on a good line. How's the weight?
Certainly is on a good line.
Oh, it's on a very good weight as well. It's a toucher, in fact. So holding a couple now. Tokomo and Guy. Brilliantly played by the Victoria pairing. Roger Stevens. Instructions for wife Bronwyn.
Trying to get on the forehand to the jack.
Long look at the head. Now delivers. She'll follow this one down.
Be under the line, is it?
It's not a bad effort at all, really.
Well, it's a difficult shot, Brendan, because it's got to be finely judged, literally centimetres. You can see the four bowls of Bronwyn Stevens. They're all locked in amongst.
Yeah.
There's a bowl of Laurie Guys in there, and there's all those four bowls just locked in there. So Sarah Tokomo makes her way back to the mat. She don't want to play on the forehand, of course, and move the jack. So may well, I think, stay on that backhand side. Oh, it looks as she's going to that, called this, or safer side, percentage safer side on the backhand. And
find a home alongside all the Bronwyn Stevens bowls.
And I think they'll be happy with that, because they've got a bowl locked in there as well. And of course, they don't want to shunt their own blue bowl out of their head as well, because then they'd be on that forehand side, because they would then be laying three down. Either it would push out of the head. Well, if you've got a yard of extra weight, it could well push itself out of the head.
I think they are attacking, looking to attack those two Laurie Guy bowls, though, that are shot at the moment.
Certainly are.
Running it at two shot bowls.
There's a great bowl here.
Bowl. Oh, just peels off one.
That was a great effort.
So, one is dismissed to the far reaches. Is inside the peg? No. Laurie Guy collects one of his own.
So Laurie Guy indicating to Sarah Tokomo ready to play either hand. She's elected to go to that forehand side. Try and get another bowl close by for Laurie Guy, and it's going to fall narrow and short. So it's a matter of now what, of course, that Roger Stevens can see.
Interesting as this game has got deeper. Roger Stevens has been making more visits.
Yes.
To the head. He stayed at the head when they had the changeover previously and come back after his first bowl. So if I see a final, every shot's so important, and he wants to make sure he's got a clear picture in his head before he delivers.
Well, I think he's committed to endeavour to attack again down there on that forehand, but of course, a few bowls in front of the head there. Needs to get a clear path through to that, it is the shot bowl. It's on its way. He's close. Going to get fit, caught up on the front bowl.
And it's not going to do enough, I don't think. Yeah, one down, says Bronwyn Stevens. Thought he might have got a bit fortuitous and made its way into the head, but not enough. So 14-9 it is now. Sarah Tokomo and Laurie Guy. Now the Victoria Club a step closer to this National Open title, the Summerset National Mixed Pairs inaugural edition. We have 4 ends to play after this. That's it. 5 ends remaining. Shaq's not giving away this time.
No, and we've gone back to just below the 2 metre mark, which was sort of the length.
Matt's up a couple of metres.
It is.
It's not all the way back, but yeah, full length end, close to it. So interesting that they've gone back to that despite success on the shorter length ends.
I'm just quite interested in how we know that playing down on this backhand side here, you need to get that line. Bronwyn Stevens now. It's a better line than the Laurie Guy bowl. How far is it going to run away from the head? Well, it was lower the jack as well, but so Laurie Guy's now knows he's got to beat his own bowl by a metre. Get inside that bowl of his by a metre. Doing so would have a very good draw to the jack. This is narrow. This is where you force the bowl out. Steer the bowl rather than green the bowl.
Yeah, struggling with the line. Both players so far. See if Bronwyn Stevens can make an adjustment with her second. Continuing on the backhand.
Well, has the line improved?
Looks pretty similar to her last one. They come under the line.
Going under the line there.
Yep, it's going to find a very similar home.
Well, they're the shots, but
they are. But you'd expect the next 4 bowls from both Sarah Tokomo and Roger Stevens to better those, or at least a couple of them.
Well, Sarah Tokomo has been pretty consistent with really. Her draw play's been, well, she's played some run shots as well, but 4 bowls here to get that line right on the backhand side that she'll go for sure. Victoria player winning this year all of the club titles available, singles, pairs, fours, pairs, won them all, the triples, but going to pay the price here under the line. Another yard of weight.
It's 4 bowls now. Well, decent weight, but just not the right line.
Well, Roger Stevens has certainly got a better line here. As you'll watch this,
he's going to come under.
He's going to come under as well to that.
It just shows you how narrow it is when you're playing this length, isn't it? How fine a line it is there.
The draw line is just inside the bowl of Laurie Guy's. Now, not outside it.
Yeah, over adjustment there. It's just not going to come back.
More than likely, yeah.
Outside the peg. Yeah, collected by Laurie Guy.
So how does Roger Stevens adjust? Well, this is better. This is better for sure. It's 3 shots.
That's 4.
So it's imperative here.
Need something. There's the Victoria pairing. Otherwise, they're going to see their lead evaporate.
Well, this is a better line. How's the weight, though? How quick is this going? Look at this. Gets the jack on the touch on the way through.
So from 4 down, out of 1 up, we talked about how important that bowl was, and Sarah Tokumo delivering.
And although it had a bit of weight on, it would not have gone too far. It was still, it was in the vicinity. So Roger Stevens now has got to make sure that looks as though he's electing to go to the forehand.
Bit of weight.
Well, is he trying to promote?
Yeah.
He's going to go.
He was trying to get on that one of his own blues, wasn't he? To bring that into the head.
Absolutely.
The angle wasn't quite right with the pink bowl of Bronwyn Stevens.
The important thing now for the Victoria combination is that they get another bowl in on the head, and that looks a good line as well. This bowl from Sarah Tokumo. How quick is it going though on the way
needs
by?
It to slow up, otherwise it's going in the ditch. It's in the ditch.
It certainly had the line, but
just the weight. It was only really a yard of weight more than the previous.
So Roger Stevens going back now after playing that forehand weighted shot, going back to the conventional backhand draw shot. And is it going to sit on the bowl? Needs to sit on the bowl. Is it going to go outside the bowl? Oh, it's imperative here for the Victoria combination. They get another bowl on the head.
Yeah, Laurie Guy will be well aware of that.
And I hope you're not. Really, if Guy can beat the pink bowl of
to the right,
yeah, that puts him in a far more safer position on the head, whereby he's not going to drop a number. Needs to get this line right on this. Jack's down on the 2 metre mark, out of the hand it is on the backhand. Well, the line looks pretty good. Brendan, how's the weight? Needs to finish to count some out, and that's
great.
That's great. That's really where they wanted it, because either side, and that
should be a good third. That shot,
because it was looking vulnerable.
It certainly was. It looked very lonely. The Sarah Tokumo shot bowl. Yeah, it's got a bit of company now. There's Bronwyn Stevens with the jacket, obviously getting a bit chillier out there, especially in comparison to what it has been.
Bronwyn Stevens will be endeavouring to get that backhand draw shot on this full-length head. And just question now, how far is this going to run outside the head? Is it? And it is. Just gets outside that line. So it's imperative now as well. There's a bowl on the other side of the head now, and counting for the Laurie Guy combination certainly puts pressure on the Stevens team, trying to get to the jack, and he will.
That should be 2.
It looks like 2 from here. So this becomes a big bowl, Brenton. Finish of Ian 12. Still a number of Ians left, but
they're starting to run out though, aren't they?
They are.
Only 4 after this.
So here's now Bronwyn Stevens. Well, she's got a good line on this bowl. This is certainly a better line from Bronwyn Stevens. And this is a better bowl all around. How far is it going to run, though? How far is it going to go? It could well be shot, falls in.
It might be second. I'd say it's probably second. One's taken away. Oh, so that's the shot bowl. Interesting. So now, counter Laurie Guy bowl, and then to the Bronwyn Stevens bowl. Roger Stevens doing the work. Yeah, that's two. So unfortunately for Bronwyn Stevens, she couldn't cut the count. 16-9. Sarah Tokumo and Laurie Guy of Victoria leading the Northeast Valley combination. Bronwyn and Roger Stevens.
That was
there
a
are just
sterling
4 ends
effort
remaining.
from Bronwyn. I thought Bronwyn Stevens had all but drawn the shot, actually, because it was a sterling effort. Full length head.
It just keep rolling, didn't it?
I was sure that when it, with the arc that it was on, that it was close to getting the shot. So Jack's been delivered. Just confirm that on the scoreboard, 16-9 to Sarah Tokumo and Laurie Guy and for Bronwyn and Roger Stevens, with 12 of the 16 ends gone. So we watch the first bowl of Sarah Tokumo just go by the Jack. It's on a good line. It was a metre away. There's the Jack you can see. It was only one, and it was only the one scored. Put the board there, 15-9. 15-9 is the score now with just the one. We thought it was two, but just the one shot. So here is Sarah Tokumo with his second bowl. How far is this going to come back to the Jack? Ball's low of the Jack. 15-9 to Guy. After as we play the 13th end. So here's now Roger Stevens on his forehand.
So interesting, just one was given on their previous end, despite certainly looking like they signalled two, wasn't it?
Certainly did.
Pushed two away, but 15-9 the score. Completed 12 of the 16 ends. This is the final course of these Summerset National Mixed Pairs, the inaugural version. Great to have it following on from the Summerset National Fours, which were held here in Central Otago for the first time. The edition of the Mixed Pairs tournament, we had 204 entries. In the end, 199 starters, and we're down to our final two after 3 rounds of qualifying. Section play on Monday. Majority of clubs, the 6 clubs that were used yesterday, had 4 rounds of post-section play. Further 2 rounds today, quarterfinal, semi-final, which we've brought to you, 1 of each round, and now here at the final to decide who is the inaugural winner of the Summerset National Mixed Pairs. The Victoria combination out of Wellington, Sarah Tokumo and Laurie Guy, currently certainly advantage them, but Bronwyn Stevens and Roger Stevens out of the Northeast Valley Club in Dunedin will not give up. They will fight to the very last end here. They had a very tight fought win against Craig Merrilees and Claire Hendra in their semi-final. They'll work to make life difficult for Tokomo and Guy over these closing ends.
So Laurie Guy just fell a bowl short. Getting the shot with his second bowl. And now try on his forehand to beat his last bowl. Looks to be narrow, would need a bit of luck, well, a lot of luck from there because it was always under the line. He was in fact playing to try and get the shot bowl or jack. Bronwyn Stevens will be desperately trying to get another bowl on the head to cut the shot options down for Laurie Guy. And this bowl looks to have a better line. This bowl of Bronwyn Stevens, in fact, looks to be right on line. And it will be. That's what she needed. And that'll count for sure. That's 2 shots. So Guy, yeah, trying to, it's narrow. You can tell straight away out of the hand there. There's a chance now for Bronwyn Stevens to really put the pressure on for the last 2 bowls of the Victorian combination. 2 down. Stevens combination holding 2 on that forehand side of the jack. It's gone out too wide, has it? Going to come back far enough. Needs to get inside this bowl of Laurie Guy's. Not quite going to.
Yeah, despite falling in, not quite enough to change the situation. Just a few words exchanged. As it was always the way that don't muck about this Victoria combination, do you? There's no big summit meetings to discuss what they're going to do. See, both vastly experienced players got the firm picture in their mind what they're going to do.
Well, there's only one shot option on here for Sarah Tokomo, and that is to play on that forehand to try and rest it amongst what is the counting bowls. You'll see that the blue and the cherry coloured bowls there. Those are the 2 counting bowls.
Playing on the backhand and ran into one of our own, unfortunately. Looks on a half-decent line.
Well, the reason why I say the other hand, Brendan, is we've got the opportunity of using the inside of the Laurie Guy bowl to either get second shot or perhaps shot. Roger Stevens now has got a great opportunity to add to the count at 15-9 behind as we come to the end of in 13.
And want to make their move now to Team Stevens. Down by 6. Only 3 ends remaining after this. I'll make it at least 4-shot game, you'd think, playing the last 3. Really put the pressure on the Victoria pairing. Finds Sarah Tokomo's previous bowlers, Roger Stevens.
So again, you can see the indication from Laurie Guy. And the shot from Sarah Tokomo is going to be played on the backhand, and it is. Needs to start working back now. How's the weight though? Not going to have enough, sure.
A gust of wind comes through, and that's what it's been doing. It's calm for a while and then gusting through across this number 1 green here at the Alexandra Bowling Club. 2 green was used throughout the previous days as well.
So can Roger Stevens add to the count? Definitely got 2. How far is it going to come back? Like you can see, the jacket's been pushed around by that breeze. And will it be?
Ball's in, it may be enough. No, I don't think it will change the count. 1 taken away, 2 taken away, and that's it. But still, a vital 2 in the scheme of things. It really tightens things up. 4 back they are now. 15-11. Sarah Tokomo and Laurie Guy now leading Bronwyn and Roger Stevens. Team Stevens having a bit of a chat as to where they should place the mat, where they want the jack. Mats all the way back. Now, where do they want to place the jack? Where do they feel gives them the best chance?
Well, it looks where Roger Stevens is standing. You know, we're talking around a 3. Oh, it's still it's a short end actually. 'Cause it's not only.
As the vest has come on for Roger Stevens. Sarah Tokomo's got a jacket on as well. It's certainly not cold, but
Breeze
compared to what
chill.
compared to what they've been used to is the main thing. Become acclimatised to the hot central Otago afternoons, and with the breeze, certainly is colder than it has been.
So Bronwyn Stevens should be disappointed with that first one. Short. And here's now Laurie Guy trying to take advantage.
Can report though that those pesky clouds, which were quite grey and dark overhead, are gone. So those Alexandra locals that tell us that the bad weather usually misses them, goes around the club. Certainly seem to be bang on today, that's for sure. There's weather was forecast, but fingers crossed it's not going to be reaching us here at the Alexandra Bowling Club.
So Bronwyn Stevens will be disappointed with those 2 opening bowls. 1 short, 1 over. Can Laurie Guy capitalise on that? He went by about a metre with his first. And now this is going to cut under the line, but it's a matter of what the weight's going to do. And that's very short as well. In 14, Laurie Guy and Sarah Tokomo leading by 15 shots to 11, and plenty of room here to draw the shot. Roger Stevens, he's taken the head off.
Yeah, too difficult.
Too hard.
Keeping it on his head. Obviously getting later in the day, approaching 6 o'clock as well. Need as much of that sun protection.
This looks the best line of all the bowls that have come down, but just how's the weight going to be as it goes just down past the jack? It's a great opening bowl from Roger Stevens. Perfect line, sits in behind the jack.
Just what they needed. Put the pressure on this Victoria combination.
You can see it, it's just close to, and this is a good response as well. This is a great response. Sarah Tokomo there, is that a toucher? No, just sits in behind the jack. It's just really what the Wellington combination need at this point. Roger Stevens again on his backhand. It's good, another good attempt here from Stevens. And just going to pull up slightly short. These windy conditions, Brenton, or blustery conditions. Those are 3 very good bowls from both of these players on this, the 14th end.
Well, certainly are 3 good bowls in a row. See if Tokomo can make it 4. Been urged to come in by Laurie Guy. Now that's given a bit of an option here for Roger Stevens, hasn't it?
Yeah, just created a jack low shoulder there to work off for the Stevens combination. They can afford to reach the head, use that width of that bowl to get it underneath it to the jack. It's going to go under and not make contact at all. So it's imperative that one of the dangers sitting early in this head now for the Laurie Guy combination is if they do happen to squeeze that jack, Brendan, there's 3 blue bowls sitting out on that jack running side. So we've got on one side of the head, we've got all the Laurie Guy bowls, and on the other side we've got all of the Stevens bowls. Just saying what this definitely one. Just the one.
Bronwyn Stevens right over the head, able to give us the accurate assessment. We knew it was one, just making sure it wasn't a second that they were down. And he's going to come have a visit, Roger Stevens. Get a clearer idea. Making his way to the head.
Oh, the shot certainly on that backhand. That just the line there, the yard of weight inside that line, it's certainly there. If you try and play it too tentatively, your bowl's just going to duck away under the line. So he has to play it with weight, which is going to hold its line and reach to where the jack sits. Here is Stevens now on the mat, playing his last bowl on the 14th end. Certainly played with the more than likely more weight than I'd have actually thought, Brendan, really. So here now, and this the back end of the 14th end, can Sarah Tokamoy, well, if it skips through, they'll be quite happy because it's going to give them a bowl in amongst that area, and that's actually not in a bad position because it certainly sits right on the centre line and just makes that option that more difficult, Brendan, to get the jack over to the other side to where those 3 blue bowls are sitting. And interesting, there is 3 of the Wellington bowls sitting on the other side of the head.
Yeah, so looking to come round now on the backhand side by the looks of things. There's the instruction from Roger Stevens to wife Bronwyn Stevens, part of the
it's certainly the best shot option
squad. Emerging player squad is Bronwyn Stevens.
It's certainly the best percentage option for sure. So Bronwyn Stevens, and this is the 14th end of 16. So Roger Stevens down, looking at it. This is a great attempt. It's the ball, but
it's been killed. That was always a possibility. And it's working out which way they're going to play. And they're going to bring the bowls remaining at the mat down to this end, the Clyde end of the Alexandra Bowling Club.
Well, it was very well played, that bowl, because that line down there was pretty tight to get to where it had to go to, and got the jack, and of course had to play with lots of weight to be able to hold the bowl up. But great shot from Bronwyn Stevens. Have a replay now of the 14th end. They were definitely down on the head.
This replay of the final. Yeah, I think I wanted it a bit shorter than that, Bronwyn Stevens, but it's pretty much ended right on the 2 metre mark. Certainly Roger Stevens was waiting for a lot shorter, but it's made its way all the way down. So long end here, and here full length. Replayed 14th end. A combination of Sarah Tokumo and Laurie Guy leading by 4. 15-11. Is this going to stay up, or is it going to find its way into the ditch? It's just staying up, I think. Yes. One more roll and it would have been in the ditch, but it's right below bottom of the screen. Just below our graphics. Scoreboard.
So this is pretty good. There's a good opening bowl from Guy. A front toucher. It puts the pressure on very early in the head. The front toucher from Laurie Guy. Bronwyn Stevens now with her first bowl that went right deep on the rink. This will be under the head for sure. And Laurie Guy, he'll back himself to come around that short bowl. And even if he goes in behind the head, he'll be pretty happy with that, with the front toucher. In fact, it's not what he wanted, really. Moved the jack out into the open spaces. Still got to be got, though, that's for sure.
Yeah, it does, and it's in a slightly difficult place now off that centre line. 2 very good bowls, even though the result of the second wasn't ideal, especially when you compare them to opposition player in Bronwyn Stevens, who couldn't quite find her range with her first couple of bowls after a great bowl before that to kill the end.
So Roger Stevens now on the mat, on the forehand. This will be under the line for sure. Yeah, the big thing here for the Wellington combination, definitely for Sarah Tokumo, is not to actually play the forehand. The backhand's to go so as you leave the target bare, so to speak, and leave no shoulders sitting out there on that side of the rink.
It's just too wide, unfortunately. It's not going to come all the way back under that centre line started with the jack moved off that. Couple of touches from Laurie Guy to start this replayed 14th end.
There's the second. There's a better bowl from Roger Stevens. That line always looked better. Is he going to get the front of the bowl? No, he doesn't. Goes through.
And then the ditch, unfortunate there. And obviously the jack being moved past the 2 metre mark, so there's not much room in behind it and the ditch.
He gave his bowl a chance, which is the big thing, playing at that length. Oh, this bowl needs to get past the front bowl of Bronwyn Stevens. In fact, is going to, well, as it's turned out, it's not actually in a bad position. I think as Dunawi attack the head on the backhand. It looks the option shot now, and that's what they're playing, at backhand attack.
Has he got? Oh, he's missed. Thought he was going to get a piece of that previous bowl from Tokumo. Wasn't to be. Now coming on wide side after coming in between two short bowls. This is going to be well short though, unfortunately. It's going to nestle alongside those bowls. A bowl of Bronwyn Stevens, the pink bowl, and that blue bowl of Roger Stevens. Roger Stevens having another go. This time might run into his own one. I thought he might have got a bit of luck. Trailed towards the jack. Wasn't to be. Oh. Sarah Tokomo with her last of us. The replayed 14th, the end.
Well, it's going to go by. Really, the option now for Bronwyn Stevens. Shot options are limited. So I've only got as well. Oh, there's a bowl of Bronwyn Stevens right back towards the deep on the green, isn't it?
Exactly, yep. Yeah, Bronwyn Stevens has the deepest bowl, which is just sitting in front of the ditch.
I shall certainly be attacking Will Bronwyn Stevens. The attack's got a beat on that backhand. On the mat is Bronwyn Stevens. It's on its way. On a good line as Stevens gets the jack clean.
Kill.
Well played by the Northeast Valley player. Well played indeed. Got the jack clean.
And we'll have another go. Third time lucky at the 14th end. 2 kills by Bronwyn Stevens. And that one was vitally important. They were holding 3 with their opposition, Sarah Tokomo and Laurie Guy. Great kill from Bronwyn Stevens.
It would always look good.
I'm bringing the mat up a long way. Now we'll be hoping to land the jack on the 2 metre mark, which Bronwyn Stevens' husband Roger's doing his foot, indicating this is where you want to be. I think that might be ditch bound. And it's given away, so no surprise. Laurie Guy takes the mat nearly all the way back. About a metre short, metre beyond the 2 metre mark on the mat.
I just got it.
Change the length up if they can, as long as he doesn't give away jack as well.
Just got some photos sent through to me of a group of Wellington bowlers who have played in the event in a bar in Queenstown, watching the final and urging on their Wellington mates from afar.
Oh, there was a good contingent from the capital.
There certainly was.
For the Summerset National Fours and mixed pairs.
So, third attempt of the 14th end. So, on the backhand there is Laurie Guy, and who's won the most singles championships at Victoria of any player in that club's proud 125 year history. Fell short with his first bowl. Bronwyn Stevens corrected fractionally off her. Well, she adjusted the weight and just beats the shortest bowl of Laurie Guy's. Definitely is the shot as Guy play his second bowl on this, the third attempt of playing the 14th end. There's this Laurie Guy bowl. He's going to go by.
Encouragement from Laurie Guy to Sarah Tokumo as they swap over. Very short, sharp communication though between pair. Not dwelling on the head for too long, no long discussions.
Here is Roger Stevens on the backhand, definitely holding the shot. Yeah, watch this bowl of Roger Stevens go by on the wide side. So here's Sarah Tokumo on her backhand. Certainly on a better line than what we've seen come down. I can see the jack in the corner there, and it's going to be short. Was certainly had a good line. And now Roger Stevens will also now on his backhand. Has he improved on the? I can't really see with where Laurie Guy's standing now, but here we go. And this will make two for sure.
Yeah, Laurie Guy's just temporarily forgotten about the camera up behind him on that centre line. Thank the players for all their help getting off that centre line so he can bring you good shots of the head.
Oh, here's a good head opportunity now. I know there's plenty of room, but the pressure's starting to get on bowl by bowl now for sure. Holding a couple of the Stevens combination as Roger Stevens plays his third bowl. Long as he's outside this bowler, Sarah, and he is. Can't see where it gets the jack, and that'll count as well, I would say. So it's imperative that Sarah Tokumo gets this, her third bowl of 4 into the head. Well, how far is it going to come back? Hasn't got the weight to come all the way back, is it? No, it hasn't. May have cut one out. Key thing now with that last bowl of Sarah Tokumo is just to endeavour to beat her last bowl. If she's fortunate enough to beat her last bowl, go close to getting shot. So this will count.
That's the third.
So it needs a metre on the draw inside her own bowl to get shot. Or second shot. It's on its way. No, this certainly won't.
Doesn't come back from there.
There's a big end there. 2 bowls left for Laurie Guy. 3, possibly 4 down.
Hand on head from Sarah Tokumo. Well, able to smile and laugh about it though. Hoping Laurie Guy can play clean up here.
Well, I think he'd be happy if you just drop the 1, to be fair.
Absolutely.
Brendan.
Or maybe they can kill it.
Which it's a hard hit to kill, isn't it? Because there's nothing sitting on top of the jack at present. Stevens on her forehand. Or they might have been let off there. With that bowl, that's out.
Outside the pegs, just like the previous bowl from Sarah Tokumo, who was on the backhand.
So this is interesting. Laurie Guy, he's driving the 3 bowls.
Oh, he's looking for the jack in the ditch.
Well, this
He just missed jack in the ditch.
Oh,
Or if we got a slice on it, we would have had a replay in again. Would have been another end killed.
Yeah, well.
He's got to stick with that now, doesn't he?
Literally, he does. All right. Should be 4 down in a minute. And he will be. Second shot is the go here. Can't get the bunch on the drive.
Get the jack though. I think that's what he's trying for. No, he's just going
draw.
for the draw. So he's
Trying to get
to
second shot, I would say. Have a look at this.
Look at this.
Have a look at this.
Wonderfully played. That should be shot. Oh, from 4 down to 1 up with the last bowl. Pressure bowl that. Just played a drive with his previous and able to calm the nerves, get the heart rate down and deliver a lovely draw. Them a step closer. 14 ends now played. 16-11. Sarah Tokumo and Laurie Guy lead Bronwyn and Roger Stevens, the Victoria pairing.
Well, that's one you can certainly put the ring around, Brenton, because that, we would have been looking at, 15 all.
Yeah, it would have been 15 all.
15
exactly.
all.
15 instead of 15 all at 16-11. So big shot in the context of this final. The decider of the inaugural Summerset National Mixed Pairs.
Well played though by Laurie Guy.
Big bowl. And I like the start too from Sarah Tokumo off the front, just sliding past the jack.
So it was a big bowl on the 14th end. By goodness, 4 down, leading 15-11, and missed with the drive. Then to go back, so I've missed, I'm going to draw the shot. That was a great bowl from Laurie Guy and highlights why he's playing in this final. You don't get to a final unless you've played some big shots throughout the event, and he's certainly done that. And Sarah Tokumo has certainly played her role, especially as we can see now on the N15. She's drawn 2 very adjacent, really.
Still an opening though for Roger Stevens.
And this is how far is this going to go by?
Will it stay up? No, it's not going to. The ditch. Jack right back on the 2 metre mark again. Penultimate end. Unless, of course, we're all tied up after 16. Need an extra end to separate these two. And what is the final of the inaugural Summerset National Mixed Pairs?
Laurie Guy on the mat with his first of 4 on N15. After drawing that amazing shot for 1, went 4 down on the 14th end. Looks as though it's just given them, Brendan, that sort of spring in their feet, that bit of confidence.
Oh, it's got to be a setback for Team Stevens, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
They were on the brink of levelling the scores at 15 apiece, and now they're like, we're 5 down with 2 to play. That's got to be deflating.
It's at this stage of the game, it's tough. So this ball of Bronwyn Stevens, it's going to be wide of the target and short.
Surprise me if that's outside the pegs.
May well be. They're looking at it now to see whether it's in or out. It is out.
No one's got that close yet. Still got Tokomo.
No, they have not.
Her first one, the closest, but still door is open. Who's going to walk through it?
It's a pretty good bowl here from Guy.
He's going to nestle alongside Tokomo's opener. And Bronwyn and Roger Stevens just want something to work with. They've got 2 that have been picked up and taken onto the back of the green. And we could be adding a 3rd to that here.
And this is going by the head as well.
This might just stay up.
No, it's not.
So 3 out of 4 are on the surface. And it's hard to score numbers when you don't have bowls on the green.
Absolutely.
Stating the obvious.
Guy
right into his
own.
Promoting it though, and there's no opposition bowls anywhere near.
So Bronwyn Stevens knowing 1, we're running out of ends, 2, we're running out of bowls, and 3, we've got very few bowls on the green, so we've got to at least give ourselves a chance. And I don't know about this either, Brendan, to be fair.
Yeah, really struggling. That's going to be 3 in a row. I don't think that's coming back. Yeah, that stayed out as well. So that's 2 that have been outside the pegs, 1 in the ditch.
How's the pressure feeling now?
Well, like you say, she knows that each bowl now is so important. She needs to have something on the head.
My suggestion would be right here, which might sound radical, is change your hand, because at least get something. There's more chance of getting something up and around on the other hand. You can see that if you get out, the struggle that there's been, and now Bronwyn Stevens is fighting the hand. You know, it's just natural. And at least if you try and play the other hand, your chance of getting under the head to second shot. So we'll see what happens.
Stuck with it. Oh, this is certainly a lot narrower, but I think it's an over-conversation, isn't it?
And can sail through and go dead on the other side.
And is it, or was it just still in within the pegs? Just be in. It isn't.
But they've got nothing on the head, have they? At all.
No.
Just amazing how things change, isn't it? 4-5 minutes ago, going down the other way, the Victorian combination had nothing on the head. And we're
now, what's the advice here for Sarah Tokomo? What are you wanting from her last 2 bowls? Stay away.
Absolutely stay away. Make a draw. Give you nothing to lean on. Make a draw. Make a draw, because you see they're struggling on the draw. That's taking nothing away. It's just they are struggling on the draw. So don't give them any shoulders. And at the moment, the head's good for them, and just a matter of this will run into something.
That's fine, though.
Yeah, and of course that also now counts.
Oh, everything counts, isn't it? every bowl that's been played pretty much is counting, apart from the 1 short Guy one. So you think they're holding 6 at the moment. But really, the numbers academic. It's all about trying to deny Bronwyn and Roger Stevens' shot.
It's getting one on the, in the zone, isn't it?
Although if Roger Stevens can't come up with something here, they'll be shaking hands as it currently stands.
It's interesting. He's playing that backhand that we spoke about, Brennan, and he's playing to get the jack. Wow, that's a big call. Well, it's not going to kill.
It's not killed. It's in the ditch.
And
Touches in the ditch. That bowl's been removed because it spat out the side.
it's a big bowl.
Big play from Roger Stevens. It was much needed. They didn't have anything really on the surface. So now Sarah Takamo has to now draw to the ditch.
Don't know what the story is really on the head, do we? Oh, this is pretty good.
As long as it doesn't get caught in any traffic and holds up, it's not going to hold up.
So Bronwyn Stevens might indicate.
Yeah, Roger Stevens asking if they got shot or not. I think the indication that they don't.
So indications drive the bowl then, is it? We don't know whether it's one or it's two. Looks like the draws the call. It indicates it might be. Well, I don't know. I'm only guessing, really.
Very hard to tell. Don't know exactly where the jack is.
Well, it's going to have to stop pretty quick, isn't it?
Is it going to hold up? No, it's not. So now, look for an umpire to separate this one, because I think it's quite far away. There's obviously, you can see the bowl in the ditch here. That was a touch-up, but it's quite far away from where the jacks ended up. We don't know exactly where the jack is. I think it's certainly to the left of the number 2 as we look at it, the rank number. So important measure this. Both umpires coming out to lend a hand.
Well, if Roger Stevens has got the shot out of it, that drive, what a magnificent bowl that was, because, well, even if he hasn't got the shot.
It's a great shot regardless.
It's absolutely outstanding shot, because it kept them in the game for sure.
So they go to the Stevens bowl in the ditch first. Now they'll come back to Laurie Guy bowl. Just want to double check they've got it right with the toucher. And now coming to the Laurie Guy bowl. It's pretty close. It's very close, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm wondering about. Yeah, you can see now that that's.
And the one in the ditch is the shot.
Well played by Roger Stevens.
Brilliant.
What a big bowl that was.
Huge. Keeps them in the game. In the final of the Summerset National Mixed Pairs, 16-12 it is now. Sarah Tokumo and Laurie Guy leading Bronwyn and Roger Stevens.
Now, what will be going
Final
through the Stevens head, I would think, well, look what happened coming down this way the last time. And isn't it ironical? Both got out with one shot each after being in all sorts of trouble. So Bronwyn Stevens here needs that pressure straight away to go on to the Wellington side. And here we go, right on the 2 metre mark. The mat's been lifted up. It was a big, brave bowl of Roger Stevens to go the jack. Full marks, brave shot, and well played.
Yeah, it had to be made. And he delivered. There's enough to grab the shot, which keeps them in this contest. Now 4 they need to send us to an extra end. 5 or more, obviously they win. And anything less than 4, obviously, will be another national title for the Victoria Club out of Wellington. Is the
first bowl.
In the ditch.
In the ditch.
So that's one of their 8, which can't count. And this will come under the line from Laurie Guy, but weight's going to be pretty handy. It's not going to finish too far away, about 1 metre away. Bronwyn Stevens looking to adjust after a tough previous end. First bowl was in the ditch. Second one is going to stay up.
So it's just beyond the 2 metre mark. And Laurie Guy was experienced here. Many years of playing singles. And how's the weight on this bowl as it comes down towards the jack, crawling its way there. Won't get there. So as Brendan said, Team Stevens need 4 shots to force the extra end. As the curtain comes down on this memorable Summerset National Oars and Mixed Pairs here at Alexandra in Central Otago. An outstanding success, at any shadow of doubt. We've seen great bowls travelled all around Central Otago to all the small outlying clubs.
It wouldn't surprise me if we're back here again in the near future.
I'm sure that we will be.
It's been a great success as we are bringing it the tournament to a close. Oh, near toucher by Roger Stevens.
Nearly a toucher then.
Showing his finesse as well as his power with the drive the previous end this time. Draw Justin behind the jack.
Sarah Tokumo looks to be on a fairly good line as well, and he'll sit lower the jack. Yeah, I know it's early on the head, Brendan, but a back bowl here from the Wellington combination.
That's where you see the danger could be, isn't it?
Absolutely.
The 2 deepest bowls.
Roger Stevens here is going to get the jack, and this is exactly what we're talking about.
Looks like they're holding 2 now.
I would say. So second shot, well played.
Just want something in amongst those bowls, even if it's just the 3rd. That's good.
Yeah.
Deep beyond the jack.
Roger Stevens played some big bowls his last 2 ends, it's for sure.
This is probably the longest discussion these two have had
it
on the
certainly
16th
is.
and final end, and it wasn't too long at all.
So Sarah Tokumo endeavouring to get another bowl on the head. Have to hit something.
She does. Only rocks on the shot bowls, and at least there is one past the head. It's within the pegs. It'll stay there.
Another well green bowl here from Roger Stevens. This is going to break its way back now. Have a look at this. He's certainly turned it on now as Stevens. How far is it going to go? That'll count.
Oh, it's been very impressive for Roger Stevens. 1 bowl to play on the 16th final end. He believes they're a chance here.
Absolutely, they are a chance. For sure they're a chance. How far is this bowl going to come back towards the jack? How far is this going to come towards the jack? Is what difference has got? Nothing.
Oh, it just knocks away the back bowl of
still 3.
Bronwyn Stevens. Hasn't changed. Here playing with that extra weight.
Great attempt by Sarah Tokumo. Looked as though she was on a good line to the jack. This is well played again by Stevens. There's another good bowl from Roger Stevens. How fast is it going to run, though?
It's still
4.
Still, oh, maybe not. Might only be 3. That bowl of Sarah Tokumo short of the head.
Go in the bowl of the jack here. Jack to the ditch. Whew.
Oh, this is quite the conclusion, isn't it?
So, can Sarah Tokumo with her last bowl on this day, 16th end, looking for the bowl or the jack? Going to play with ditch searching weight on its way. going to get
her own. But she knocks out one of those, and that's not a bad result. That's not, given that the opposition needs 4, that's not a bad result.
That's not.
It's knocked away one of the shot bowls, and her still should be the good third.
So the big thing now for the Wellington combination really is to see that the draw inside the bowl of you see that short bowl out to the side. It's the bowl to draw to for Laurie Guy. All will depend what Bronwyn Stevens does with this bowl. Well, this is on a good line.
Yeah, I think Roger Stevens could tell.
Or it might skip by.
Pretty handy.
Oh, that'll be close to counting, won't it?
It'll be close, that's for sure.
Here is now Laurie Guy on the backhander. Pressure's really on the Victoria skip here with his last 2 bowls. Is he going to get something?
Oh, yes, a nice little rub off that Bronwyn Stevens bowl. And that really should all but do it. She needs to, out with her last bowl, Bronwyn Stevens, she needs to move the jack. Doesn't she?
Needs to move the jack into...
Get amongst that, this little triangle of 3 blue bowls and needs to stay with it. So it's near impossible, really, you would think. Or maybe even come a bit further back to where her pink bowl is. But it's very difficult to turn this into 4.
That bowl of Laurie Guy's was about 2 or 3 inches away from going nowhere.
Yeah.
It was on the narrow side, got the rub in there, got the run onto the bowl. Bit of fortune. But we've certainly seen some big scoring number opportunities these last 3 ends, that's for sure. So is this the last bowl to be played in the Summerset National Bowls here in Central Otago? Bronwyn Stevens on the mat. As Brenton said, looking for that jack trail.
Comes down to this. Not the worst line, but it's just going to slide past. Good attempt. It's shake hands time. And Sarah Tokomo and Laurie Guy from Victoria in Wellington are the inaugural Summerset National Mixed Pairs Champions. They have beaten Bronwyn Stevens and Roger Stevens from North East Valley, and yet another national title for the Victoria Club in Wellington. Quite the performance, and that's how we complete these Summerset National Mixed Pairs. I'll make my way out onto the green to interview the new and inaugural Summerset National Mixed Pairs Champions and leave you in the hands of Kevin Hicklin.
Well, we certainly had a magnificent final here between Roger and Bronwyn Stevens up against Sarah Tokomo and Laurie Guy of the Victoria Club in Wellington, and they've now continued on this amazing achievement from the Victoria Bowling Club in winning national titles. But what a final it was. That it swung backwards and forwards. 16-9 it was, of course, as we played that of the 13th end. We had a couple of kills and back they came. Holding the win was the Guy combination, and the jack was run into the ditch by Roger Stevens, and we saw 4 down for Laurie Guy on the 14th end, and he managed to draw the shot. And what an amazing final to finish what has been one of the true great national tournaments here in Central Otago at the Alexandra Club. We've certainly had the opportunity to travel around this beautiful part of the country to a number of those smaller clubs and all around the whole area, Waiapata, Patiora, Omakau, all of these places. Alexandra, of course, where the headquarters is, Roxburgh, Clyde, a number of Wanaka, all around this wonderful part of New Zealand, and certainly finished in a great final. Earlier on, of course, we saw the men's final, won by Morris Symes and his side, his composite side. They defeated Mike Kernahan in that final. And in the women's final, we saw the Mandy Boyd skip side. They defeated the defending champion Sandra Keith. And now, after six days of bowls, we've got the winners of the Summerset National Mixed Pairs. Those been Laurie Guy and Sarah Tokumo, and we're just waiting now for Laurie Guy to make his way up with Brendan Van Nistelrooy, and then he'll have a chat with Brendan, and then there'll be the presentations. Here comes Laurie Guy, the Victoria player, and I'll pass you over now in just a moment to Brendan Van Nistelrooy, who's got Laurie Guy with him. I'll pass you over now to Brendan Van Nistelrooy.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Yes, we have the skip of, there's no real skip in mixed pairs, is there? Laurie Guy, another title for the Victoria Club. What is it that's so special in the water in Wellington?
I don't know if it's about the water. We enjoy spates there though. But yeah, that's 3 titles this year, and I think it's now 9 in a row. We're not quite sure. I'm pretty sure that's a record, 8 club titles in a row. With 3 this year, we must be getting pretty close to having the most national titles out of any club. I'm not sure. Maybe you know.
Yeah, I think the Carlton Club is still quite some number ahead, right. But in recent times, the dominance, Sarah, who's joined us as well, come in nice and close and see if you can get nice and close with. You've been nice and close with them throughout. That's fine. Get nice and close to the camera if you can, Sarah, as well. For you, what does this mean? A national title now.
Still a bit starstruck, I think. It hasn't sunk in yet, so I think it'll take a while.
Yeah, see if you can get nice and close to the camera for us, sorry, just so we can make sure that everyone can hear you back home. And for you as well, to win a national title, you've been to a number of nationals now?
I think I've played the last 26 nationals, haven't missed one. A couple of quarter-finals, but mainly come here for the holiday and the camaraderie amongst the bowlers. Great bunch of people, made a lot of friends, me and Sarah, especially over the last couple of days. Today we played 4 really good teams, 4 yesterday. So we're stoked, very happy.
And for you, Sarah, playing down here, what's it been like? You've obviously enjoyed Central Otago. You're coming away with a national title.
Yeah, it's been amazing. This is Laurie and I's first time playing together, so it was quite good. We got on.
That's incredible. So not even at club
level? Undefeated.
Wow.
No one's beaten us yet.
Well,
is this going to call it quits there, or make sure you play together again?
Hopefully we get invited back next year.
Well, absolutely. I think you've certainly deserved it. The inaugural Summerset National Mixed Pairs Champions. Congratulations. Make sure you enjoy a few here.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers.
That's wonderful. It's Sarah Tokumo and Laurie Guy, who have taken out the inaugural, as I said, Summerset National Mixed Pairs here at the Alexandra Bowling Club in Central Otago. And that brings an end to our coverage here on Sky Sport Next. A big thank you for everyone who's been involved, to Tamara and Erin for all their work behind the scenes, bringing this live stream together. On behalf of Kevin Hickland, I'm Brendan Van Nistelrooy, wishing you all a good evening here from the Alexandra Bowling Club.